Are you a happy, healthy, and successful divorcee who's only attracting one-night stands and fuckboys? This might be why. You are empowered, you are driven, you are ambitious, and you are sexually liberated. The problem is if you're leading with your sexuality, you are only going to attract guys who want you sexually. I know this from personal experience. I did not like the kind of guys that I was attracting. So I pulled my sexual energy back into my personal container and I started to lead with my character and core values. Something amazing happened. I started to attract high caliber guys who wanted to have deep intellectual conversations about my goals and my business.
Liar!
Gentlemen, welcome back to another video. We're starting this one strong with this woman here, dating after divorce. So let's hear her out again because there's a lot to unpack here.
Are you a happy, healthy, and successful divorcee who's only attracting one-night stands and fuckboys?
50-50. A lot of women resonate with the part where they're only attracting one-night stands, but there are no single women who are happy and successful and cheerful and all that crap.
This might be why. You are empowered, you are driven, you are ambitious, and you are sexually liberated.
Wait, gentlemen, just a second. Let me change the smiling dog to a dead one because he's already dead from this woman's crap. Let's continue.
The problem is if you're leading with your sexuality, you are only going to attract guys who want you sexually. I know this from personal experience. I did not like the kind of guys that I was attracting. So I pulled my sexual energy back into my personal container and I started to lead with my character and core values.
Like she has any, right?
Something amazing happened. I started to attract high caliber guys who wanted to have deep intellectual conversations about my goals and my business.
And then you woke up, right? This is the part where I just knew she was a dating coach because of course this scenario doesn't exist. So I just realized that she's trying to, it's like an ad, you know, trying to sell, oh look, I made it. No, you didn't. We know you didn't. She's still single. Like there's no man around her in her life, except Chad, who eventually pumps and dumps her on the Tuesdays. So yeah, no one is buying it. That is not true. That is not how things happen. Men don't just randomly see a car with a lot of mileage and say, you know what, I'm gonna pay full price for that.
So this is your invitation to reflect on where you're leading with your sexuality and what kind of results are you getting. It might be time to pull your sexual energy back and see what happens. Because the truth is, if you want to attract a high caliber partner to co-create a healthy, sustainable relationship with, that relationship needs to be built upon character compatibility, not sexual chemistry.
Yes, that's correct, madam. And another thing to point out, really important, that needs to happen when you're in your 20s. It can't happen after you've already been riding the carousel for 20 years and now you're 40, divorced, single and miserable. Then character and compatibility and whatever you want, it doesn't work after you've already screwed up everything.
I hope this information was helpful. Please let me know in the comments below by typing yes if this resonates.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, gentlemen. So because you loved this woman, I'm sure. Here she is again. So let's hear another life lesson from her, from the most experienced and good dating coach out there.
Something crazy happened in couples therapy today that I want to share with you. I had a massive breakthrough around my core wounding with my father. So, in my relationship, I often get triggered when my fiance is forgetful. And while a certain amount of that is valid because reliability and consistency are necessary to create a container of safety and trust, my reaction sometimes is a level 8 hysteria. And that's a really good indicator that it's a childhood wounding trigger. So, in therapy, we unpack this, and I realized that while my father provided shelter and clothing and food, he wasn't always present and available in the ways that I needed as a little
Yeah, we can tell. We can definitely tell.
girl. I often felt forgotten about. And so now in my adult relationship, forgetfulness is a major trigger. And I had no idea about that until today. So this is an invitation to do some self-reflection. Where in your love life are you possibly being triggered and you're unaware of how deep those triggers are going? Because once you have that awareness around what your triggers are, you will know how to attract and co-create a healthy, sustainable relationship with someone. Let me know if you have questions in the comments below.
Guys, here's what I think. You saw that she had the hand tattoo sleeve on the introduction video. Now, this is one of the main, it's not like a reason to have a tattoo. A lot of people have a tattoo and they haven't gone through this, but a lot of women with these chest tattoos, hand tattoos, they usually have daddy issues. It's like a common pattern you will see a lot. This is why I think that women who have tattoos are a red flag. Now, it's depending on the tattoos as well, but guys, like men, we are not on this earth to fix someone else's problem. Like usually behind these women who have hysteria or who have a high body count, who are for the streets, usually they have a past where the father figure is missing, or where they've been mistreated or just indoctrinated or whatever. I mean, and someone may say, well, shouldn't you be understanding towards them? I am, but that doesn't mean I'm going to commit to one of them. You see, like you should not be some woman's psychotherapist and medic and you go there to heal her life and pick up the pieces. No, it's not how it works, because a lot of men learn this the hard way. But when someone is sinking, if he doesn't want to be helped, it's better to leave them sink than to go help and sink with him, sink along. So usually when men try this, they feel sympathy, they feel empathy towards these women. They want to help, they want to rebuild them, and usually what happens is they just both sink. Women like this do not appreciate a healthy relationship, as this one mentioned. So yeah, we are understanding of the fact that you had a bad past, but that doesn't mean that we're going to pick up the pieces. And it works both ways. Woman will not, marry the man who is poor and has made all the bad decisions in his life.
So I know I joke a lot and stuff on here, right? But I just wanted to share, like, a lot of times when people ask me, well, like, how did you go through what you went through in regards to your divorce, and how are you making it? Like, and I'm just gonna say this, like, it was hard, but it was very, very simple. And I know we hear everybody on the internet saying it, like, know your worth, know you deserve this, that. And it's like, when you hear it, and you be like, I know I'm valuable, I know I'm this and that. But sometimes you don't believe it, but you truly gotta believe it. And I just realized that if there's anything that I have to force, is it for me? If there's anything that I have to just go through loops and loops and keep trying and failing, like, is that for me? And sometimes,
yeah, that's a great insight into women's psychology. So notice how when women go through a divorce, what they usually hear after the divorce is, know your worth, you are better than this, queen, you will find something better, the grass is greener on the other side. And they have this mentality that they will be happier after divorce. On the other hand, when men go through a divorce, what they usually hear after that is, oh, you could have done something better. You missed her, man. You made some bad choices. You didn't pay enough attention to her. All those things, right? Like, men get publicly shamed after divorce, while women get their behinds kissed. Really interesting. And this philosophy that she has of, if I have to force something, is it really for me? If I have to go through the loops, was it meant? If I have to move my little finger in order to keep my marriage, is it really for me? Like, shouldn't I just be existing and not doing anything and good things just happening to me? Damn it, man.
The power is in letting go. The power is in deciding that this is not working out for me. This is not creating me to be my best self, and walking away. You know, I am absolutely ecstatic for people to work on their marriages. I'm not a marriage hater. I am actually the total opposite, because I know how valuable marriage is. When you have something and you have it taken away from you, it kind of gives you an understanding on both concepts. So I tell people, like, everybody of course told us like fight for your marriage, but nobody like really knew what to say to fight for your marriage. And so many people just jumped to consuming sides where nobody actually like really helped us to really figure out what was going on. And older couples is like, oh, ain't nothing out there, it's this, is that. And it's hard, because it's like when you're with someone and they're not a horrible person, but it don't align with you, like, you really have to step out on faith, you know? And I have to even tell myself now, like, comparison is the thief of the night, because it's like, okay, if I experience this level of love, I need the next level to be this and that. And it may not be that, you know? Like, a lot of times people are like, oh, you get 3 loves in a lifetime, like your first love, your first love, your teenage love, then you get your real love, and then you get your partner of who you're able to do life with. But sometimes you really can get that person in one person, you know? So I just tell people, like, you know what's right for you. And even if you say choose your heart, sometimes you gotta just choose your mind. You gotta choose your mind. So that's all that I kind of did. And it's a journey. Like, you might see the happiness. So that's why I came on here, to keep it real, because it's hard. It's a struggle. It's definitely a struggle.
No, it's definitely not. And this woman mentioned like the core pillars of women's reasons to divorce. She first mentioned how, talking about her ex-husband, he wasn't a horrible person, but we didn't align. So, reason to get divorced: irreconcilable differences. My all-time favorite. Why did you divorce? Did he cheat on you? Did he beat the crap out of you? Did he not care about your children? No, just we didn't align. The spark was gone, the butterflies, all these nonsensical crap, man. It just really makes men hate marriage in their guts. Because you invest so much into a woman, you provide for her, you are traditional, you work for that relationship, and then you hear her making a TikTok saying, oh, well, if I have to go through the loops, is it really meant for me? Jeez. And then the other point she mentioned about, well, you know, there's so many people in life that you meet and you have your first and second and third love, but I need more. I need more all the time. So the monkey branching, the grass is always greener on the other side. The 2 reasons for women to divorce, and actually they're just like one reason, you know, women quote unquote file for irreconcilable differences after they think that they can get something better. And in the end, they don't. Women who get divorced, 99.9% of them don't find someone better.
One of the things that causes a lot of heartbreak and pain after a divorce is the fact that you're looking back at the divorce and at the marriage, and you're only seeing the mistakes that you made, right? Like, you chose this guy and he wasn't the right guy, and you put up with all of that stuff for so long, and, you know, all these things happened. But the fuel that you need to be able to move forward are your strengths. And our brains are just so focused on the negative. Like, that's just the way the brain is designed. It's designed to focus on what's negative. It's designed to focus on what happened that went wrong, supposedly so that you wouldn't do it again, right? Like, that's just the way the brain is designed. So naturally, you would think back and have regrets and look at mistakes and maybe even blame yourself or things like that, blame the other person, which, you know, that's kind of normal.
Yeah, blame everyone but yourself. Now we're blaming the brain, gentlemen. My brain, man, just, you know, trying to imply that I made some mistakes picking my partner, trying to imply that I didn't pull my marriage off. You know, damn brain, can you stop? Women will go to incredible lengths to put the blame on everyone and everything but themselves.
However, that can get in the way of you finding the fuel, the sort of like the raw material that you need to build your brand new extraordinary life after divorce, and that is your strengths. So in my first marriage, there were a lot of things that I did that, in a sense, you could say the ex exploited those things. Like one of them was he always wanted to run a business and he could never get the business off the ground. There was one time he was like, he started this tutoring business, but he was always too scared to go on sales calls. And like, so I was, you know, pregnant, I would go to work during the day, I'd come back, and then he wouldn't have gone on his sales calls. And then he would want me to come with him to go on his sales calls in the evening, right? And I would, actually. But anyway, most of the businesses failed. He never, you know, eventually he went to work like I was working. And at a certain point, you know, I had this idea to create a sort of like a training for people to do what I was doing, right? And he had already like taught some people to do what he was doing in IT, and I was like, oh, and so I created this whole training, but I really wasn't interested in selling it. I liked working, and we put it out there, and it started selling. So like that's basically how the business that we started together got started, and he then eventually quit his job to run that business, right? But I had like designed the program, got the first sales, just really did a lot of the background work. And so he was running it and I was contributing and, you know, things like that. And then at the end of the marriage, it was like 6 months before he filed for a divorce, he had taken me off the business. It was a whole lot of things, but the key is I had done that. And for a long time after the divorce, I forgot that I had that capacity. So what I did was, then I went back and like wrote down all the amazing things, all my contributions, and then took them and used them going forward to create something new.
So as far as I understand, the guy actually filed for divorce, which is incredibly rare. And of course, we don't get to hear his story. So what are the reasons he filed for divorce? Because contrary to women, men don't file for divorce because the grass is greener or because the glitter wore off. So probably she cheated, I don't know. But gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this story? Leave them down in the comments below and I'll be happy to see you next time. Have a good one.